survival, adaptation, and the limits of human potential. Humans were capable of so much more than we often give ourselves credit for. And scientists are absolutely baffled when they stumble upon examples of human survival that seem to contradict everything we know about biology, diet, and culture. Take the Inuit, for instance. Ever heard of the saying, "You are what you eat"? Well, if that were literally true for the Inuit, they'd be made almost entirely of raw meat and blubber. Science says their diet should be killing them, and yet the opposite seems to be true. We're talking about a near-exclusive intake of fatty whale, seal, and fish with barely any vegetables or fruits in sight. By all logic, that much animal fat should send cholesterol levels through the roof and cause rampant heart disease. But guess what? The Inuit have some of the healthiest hearts on the planet. Their secret lies in a genetic adaptation that helps their bodies process fats differently. That's right, evolution might have handed them a cheat code for survival in one of the most extreme environments on Earth. Ever stepped outside in freezing temperatures and felt your fingers go numb within minutes? This tribe is surviving in sub-zero conditions with minimal clothing. The Inuit don't just survive the cold, they thrive in it. Scientists have discovered that their bodies generate heat differently from most humans. Their metabolism is essentially turbocharged, allowing them to stay warm even when the temperature dips to deadly levels. And it doesn't stop there. Their bodies are literally shaped for survival. Shorter limbs and stockier builds help them conserve heat far better than tall, thin frames. It's almost as if they were engineered for the Arctic, making researchers wonder just how deep these adaptations go. And beyond the biological, there's the linguistic and cultural. You've probably heard that the Inuit have dozens of words for snow, right? Well, that's just the tip of the iceberg, pun intended. Their language, often misunderstood and misnamed in Western texts, actually shapes how they see the world. Studies suggest that speakers of Inuit languages process time and space differently because of how their grammar works. For example, their concept of direction isn't based on left and right like in English, but on absolute terms like north and south. This means that an Inuit elder could be blindfolded, spun in circles, and still point north without hesitation. Scientists still don't fully understand how this works, but one thing is clear, the Inuit have a connection to their environment that goes beyond what we thought was possible. So, are the Inuit living proof that humans can evolve to master any environment? Or are they holding on to ancient knowledge that modern science has yet to understand? Underscore 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 faith, technology, and the mystery of cargo cults. But the Inuit story isn't the only one that has left scientists speechless. Sometimes survival isn't just about the physical, it's about belief. The cargo cults of the Pacific are yet another mystery, reminding us that sometimes human faith takes an even stranger turn. Imagine a group of people witnessing technology so advanced that it might as well be magic. Now, what if they started worshipping it? Well, that's exactly what happened in the Pacific during World War II, leading to the birth of something absolutely surreal, the cargo cults. Here's how the story goes. These island peoples had lived their entire lives on isolated islands with no cities, no electricity, no modern tools, just the land and the sea. Then, out of nowhere, massive metal birds descended from the sky, dropping mysterious objects filled with food, clothing, and weapons. Sounds like something out of mythology, right? That's exactly how it felt for some Melanesian Aborigines when US military forces set up bases on their islands during World War II. These cargo drops weren't just supplies, they were miracles. And the people receiving them, they weren't just humans to the tribes. They were divine beings. Now, here's where things get even stranger. The tribes quickly noticed a pattern. The Americans always received the cargo. So, they did what any devoted followers would do, they started copying them. The Melanesians built wooden replicas of watchtowers, runways, and even airplanes, hoping to summon the cargo from the sky. They marched in formations, mimicked military drills, and even painted USA on their bodies, believing it was some kind of sacred symbol. But there was one small problem. No matter how much they imitated the soldiers, the cargo never returned. When the war ended, the US military packed up and left, taking their supplies and their miracles with them. But for the tribes, this wasn't just an army leaving, it was their gods abandoning them. Some even believed the soldiers had stolen their deities, taking the cargo back to another world. Desperate to reconnect, they continued performing their rituals, waiting for the sky to open up once more. But the parachutes never came back. And while modern anthropologists now use the term cargo cult to describe blind imitation, for the people who lived it, this was no metaphor. It was a reality they couldn't escape. Underscore 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 underscore. The Noga, fierce warriors of the Northeast. The Melanesians weren't the only group to leave researchers stunned. Deep in the jungles of Northeast India, the Noga tribe has a history so intense that it's almost hard to believe. These are the Noga people, a collection of over 40 tribes spread across the border between India and Myanmar. While they might seem like just another indigenous group living off the land, their past reveals something much darker, something that has fascinated and terrified outsiders for centuries. From ancient times to the present, the Noga have relied on hunting and agriculture to survive. But their hunters weren't just skilled, they were legendary. Stories tell of Noga warriors fighting tigers with their bare hands, a feat that cemented their status as some of the fiercest fighters in the region. Beyond their reputation in battle, the Noga are also highly skilled artisans, excelling in pottery and blacksmithing. Despite their warrior culture, their society wasn't entirely ruled by men. While men held authority, women weren't treated as servants. They had their own rights and responsibilities, particularly in managing households and raising children. One of the most fascinating customs in Noga families is their inheritance system. When the eldest son marries, the family home is passed down to him, while the parents move out and build a new house for themselves. For the most part, the Noga seem to lead quiet, self-sufficient lives. But this is where things take a shocking turn. Up until nearly the end of the 20th century, the Noga were infamous for one of the most brutal traditions ever recorded, head hunting. This wasn't just about warfare. Taking an enemy's head was a rite of passage, a way to gain status and honor in the community. The more heads a warrior collected, the more respect he earned. His body was often covered in tattoos to show off his victories. These gruesome trophies were a symbol of power, a tradition so deeply ingrained that it persisted for centuries. As time went on, the world around them changed, and the practice of headhunting was eventually outlawed. But the stories of the Noga warriors still live on, haunting the dense jungles where they once fought and conquered. Underscore 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 underscore. The Yoli, the Kuna, and the Chuki. The Noga might have left their violent past behind, but deep in the mountains of Papua New Guinea, the Yoli tribe has captured the world's curiosity. Isolated from modern civilization, the Yoli people live in the rugged highlands, far from the influence of technology and globalization. For decades, there remained a mystery until one British explorer risked everything to meet them. The Kuna tribe, on the other hand, has carved out a reputation of its own, and it isn't just about dazzling textiles and vibrant colors. These people are as bold as their art, and they don't take kindly to outsiders meddling in their ways. At first glance, the Kuna seem like a peaceful island community. But don't be fooled. Their traditions run deep, and their commitment to spiritual balance is anything but casual. When it comes to keeping the spirits happy, they don't mess around. Animal sacrifices are absolutely on the table. These ceremonies aren't just old customs, they're essential to the Kuna's way of life. Every ritual carries serious weight, ensuring their world stays in harmony. And if that means making some intense offerings, so be it. But here's where things get even more intense. The Kuna aren't just protectors of their traditions, they're defenders of their land. For generations, they fought off anyone who tried to impose on them, and they aren't about to stop now. Whether it's resisting outside influence or pushing back against those who threaten their autonomy, the Kuna make one thing clear: they call the shots on their own land. Meanwhile, over in the frozen wilderness of Northeast Asia, another resilient group has been preserving its way of life for centuries. The Chuki, an indigenous people of the Chukotka region in Russia, might not be as well known as some other tribes, but their ability to thrive in one of the harshest environments on Earth is nothing short of incredible. With a population of around 16,000, The Chukchi have called this icy landscape home for thousands of years. Their exact origins remain a mystery, but their culture has stayed remarkably consistent since at least the 3rd century BC. While the Soviet era introduced schools and hospitals to some settlements, the core of Chukchi life has remained largely unchanged. The Chukchi divide into 2 main groups based on their way of life. The inland Chukchi are expert reindeer herders, relying on their animals for food, clothing, and transportation.